everyone to this webcast. This is a part one of the regression equation and personal development. Some of us have um, struggles, habits, behaviors that we want to work upon as we try to journey towards personal development in our lives. I am Dr. Goodluck, and I'm going to be talking to us today about the regression equation and personal development. There's something I want you to understand. Life in itself is a journey, but there are different milestones. And what will help us understand how to reach these milestones is when we have an understanding of how life in itself works, and that is the personal development journey. Now, why do I have to use the regression equation? I have to use it because I am a researcher. I understand what research is. And there's an equation in research that I have come to see and believe that it applies to everything that we do in life. You just have to agree with me. If you're a researcher, you're a statistician, you're an econometrist, then you have to understand that, yes, this equation can really apply to life. Now, you may disagree with me. I have no problem with that. But I just want to use this analogy to explain my outlook, my understanding of what life is. So, quickly, what is this equation that I'm making a whole buzz about? What is this equation that I'm making a whole noise about? Now, the equation is nothing more than the regression equation that we all know. Going through statistics class, you remember that there's an equation, a regression equation that is called y equals to a plus bx, where y is the dependent variable and x is seen as the um, independent variable or predictor variable. And then, of course, you have the b, which is more like the beta, which is more or less the coefficient or the multiplying function of the independent variable. So, quickly with what I have on my slide, you have y, which is the big Y now, equals to alpha naught plus beta 1 x2 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 plus mu, and then of course you have the I factor or elements in it. Now, um, what I want you to understand is that y in the equation is the dependent variable, alpha or alpha naught is the constant of the equation, and you have b or beta, which is the coefficient of the independent variable. And then you have the mu, which is the stochastic factor. Then you have the I, which is the element, to show that the study is based on cross-sectional data. Now, I just lifted this as is, but I'm going to explain how it applies to our personal development journey. And now, trust me, it's not just that it applies to personal. You can use it in every aspect of life: finance, solving organizational problems, solving personal problems, solving issues of national challenge. You can use this small or this regression to solve it. So, how relevant is that equation to us today? It's very simple, and there's every need for us to understand it. What it implies is that the regression equation tends to specify certain terms, certain conditions that needs to be met in order to attain a certain desired outcome. Now, from this explanation, we know that the outcome we're trying to get, all right, is personal development. And if that is the case, there is need for us now to understand how we can plug in all the parameters of this equation to be able to arrive or to be able to predict how we can achieve our personal development. So now I'm just going to do some form of substitution and then bring in this and this and that. Now look at y. Y is the personal development in the equation. Alpha naught, um, like I said earlier, constant of the equation, and then beta the coefficient, and then you have x1 to x3, which denotes certain factors that we need to manipulate or that you can manipulate or work on in order to be the expected outcome. And then mu talks about the stochastic factor or error term. And also, now look at the equation again. Now I have expanded it to bring in to make the beta variables or the independent variables to become 4. Now, our expected outcome is y, which is what? Personal development. And then we have the constant in the equation. The constant means that you must have this in place. It is very important. If you don't have it in place, the regression equation is not complete. And so, looking at the personal development equation or journey, you'll agree with me that God is constant. Age is also constant because you are growing. So, it is constant. It's a factor that has to be there. You are growing. So even if you are moving from age 1 to age 2 to age 3, all right, which is more of change, but we can't rule out the fact that age is a factor which is very relevant and is constant in the personal development journey. So what it means is that at different stage or age, you find yourself or you're supposed to find yourself in another stage of your personal development journey. So if you're not moving forward in your personal development journey, just know that you are moving forward in terms of age because you are growing. But it is a factor that has to be present in everything that you do. So by implication, we are all growing. So age is constant. Of course, we have to eat, and that's why you see it as being constant here. Now, the beta 1 to beta 3 or beta 4 in this case, are referred to as the multiplying function of the factors that we need to work on or manipulate. So now, moving further, I'm going to take the personal development factors. All right, there are 5 basic personal development factors, which are spiritual, emotional, social, physical, and intellectual. These are factors that by the time we try to meet and work on each of these factors, it helps us to be able to move very closer, or it helps us to move to the next stage of our personal development journey. And so these factors, 5 of them, I have plugged them in into the regression equation, and I'm going to explain. Now, like I said earlier, why is the personal development? And so you have God. I'm choosing God in this case because whether we like it or not, God is supposed to be a constant factor in our life. We can't play God. We can't change who God is. We can't do away with God. So God is very important in our personal development lives. All right. I'm saying this because I'm a Christian. If you're a Muslim or you believe in have any other religion, you know that there is something you believe in, and that has to be constant. There's a being you believe in, and that has to be constant. For my own from my own angle, using God because God is constant. All right. Thank you. Then, if you can using that God, you see that the spiritual aspect of the 5 factors of personal development have been taken care of. God is constant. Then you come to the intellectual. Now, X1, I use X1 as the intellectual. So these are other factors that we can work on in order to improve our personal development. All right. So under intellectual, you have basic education, professional development, seminars, conferences, and trainings. So we must, at every point in time, improve our mindsets through reading, getting basic education. So if you want to improve your finance, I advise you go get basic financial education. All right. You need to also improve yourself professionally. So you get professional education. All right. You attend trainings, seminars, online webcasts, um, online meetings where you have to discuss maybe with a mentor or with some form of someone who is a coach that will teach you certain things about how to improve your intellect. So with that being said, intellectual, all right, is a factor that we need to work on in order to meet our personal development. Now, emotional factors. Trust me, sometimes our emotions tend to alter our journey towards our personal development. So we also need to understand and work on our emotions. We need to understand our personalities, how do we see things? How, do we get angry easily, or we are the type that we have low self-esteem? When we're in public, we're unable to defend and present ourselves, or we tend to get so emotional about issues. We think a whole lot to the point that we lose focus of what we are supposed to do to move on in life. So you need to understand your emotion and the factors that surround it and how you can use some of these factors to improve upon yourself. Then social factors, truth, whether you like it or not, we are social beings. And so we cannot rule out the fact that we live in a society and then we have to interact with people. We have to interact with different elements in the society. So social factors are very, very important. We need to understand them and be able to see how we can use them to our advantage in our journey to personal development. Of course, the physical, yes, you can't develop if you are not physically fit. I'm using these words, physically fit, because there is need for us at every point in time in life to keep in shape. So we must learn to exercise. We must learn to do some form of small workouts. We can decide to wake up early in the morning, take a walk around the neighborhood, do some joggings. For the guys, you can play soccer, play basketball, do some aerobics because it helps you to have a good mental frame of mind. Because our mental state can be improved by some form of physical activity that we do. All right. So physical is also a factor that we need to factor in into the regression equation. All right. Now you'd agree with me that personal development can be improved upon by using God as a constant factor and then by bringing in the intellectual aspect plus the emotional aspect plus the social aspect plus the physical aspect. Now, what of the stochastic factor or the error term that I mentioned earlier? Now, in regression, these stochastic value, we refer to them as error terms or more or less like distractions, even though they are not part of the variables you're looking at in your research, but you can't rule them away. And what do I mean? In your journey to personal development, you're going to see some form of distractions. Your friends are going to betray you. Sometimes your family might even disown you because you are trying to improve upon yourself, and somehow it's going to affect a lot of people. People are going to gossip you at your back. People are going to say a lot of things, to do a lot of things in order to distract you from your journey to personal development. But the question now is, how do you manage them? So the same way we manage them in research, all right, by taking care of them. Taking care of them meaning that yes, whether we like it or not, they are part of the equation. But we tend not to focus too much on them, all right, in order to lose sight of our outcome or of our destination. So it is the same way you manage them in life. You have to deal with criticisms. These are noise factors. You have to deal with a lot of distractions. Like I said earlier, friends will betray you. People will snitch on you. All right. People will blow your cover. People will leak your secrets. People will make fun of you. People will want to mess you up, probably because they are not at the stage of life where you are. They want to bring you down to their level. They want you to come and start from ground zero. All right. But trust me, even though they are there, it helps us to shape our lives. So, for example, if you're doing something that is wrong and a friend exposes you, all right, somehow it is that friend is trying to distract you because I don't see a reason why your friend should expose you. Okay. But at the same time, we all have secrets. We have little things that we do. And then we just believe that, okay, these things, we can just cover them up and then we'll move on. But a lot of people are there to mess us up. Some of us, we all had wrong beginnings, rough beginnings. and then we're trying to improve ourselves. But you see, there are some people who have taken it as a point of duty in their lives to mess other people up. That is why they leak secrets, they snitch on people, they gossip, they lie. So, as someone who wants to improve himself, you need to understand that this is just nothing but what these are nothing but what distractions, and so they are part of the equation, all right, but they shouldn't have a very high effect on us. So we're just going to use them to improve ourselves. That is what I think you should know about that. Okay, so it is very important that in every aspect of your life, in terms of personal development, the spiritual aspect is important, the emotional aspect, the social, the physical, and the intellectual. Now, looking at this equation, you agree with me that for us to achieve personal development, we must use God as a constant. All right, then we must work on our intellectual capabilities. We must also develop our emotions positively. We must be able to interact with the people around us. All right, it's very important. We must work out. We must have some form of physical exercises. We must have some form of mental exercises as well in order to help us improve. Of course, you have to deal with criticisms, which are the errors, distractions, snitch, gossips, slanderings, backbitings, and a whole lot that you're able to do with. So this is just the first part of the regression equation. In subsequent webcasts, I'm going to talk about how to properly develop this equation in order to improve our personal development. So understanding this equation will help you to navigate the course of life and be able to put in the right measures in order to excel in life. This may not make sense to some people, but I'm very sure that there are certain people that this would benefit. So thank you for listening, and we'll see in the next episode of this webcast. God bless you so much. Again, I remain Dr. Goodluck, and it is my joy that we all move on from one stage of life to the other. And the only way we can do this is by understanding how life works and how we can plug in certain variables into the regression equation of our lives and then use it to move forward. Like I said, personal development, life in itself is a journey, and we need to understand how life works. Thank you, and God bless you.